Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to be covering the story or the lore of each area, but I'm going to be explaining the differences and I guess also the similarities between Tynerum and Masteria and why they're so confusing. Basically, I had this written out for myself a long time ago, but I figured I'd just use that for video so other people would understand. It's going to be really confusing with the names, so just try to pay attention, I guess. So, Tynerum is initially labeled as Masteria, and it still is in like all the other regions except GMS. The area both complements the original Masteria lore and ignores it completely. In KMS, Masteria is the land of demons, and this is where both Demon Slayer and his brother Damien hail from. With the introduction of 5th Job's prequests, all classes require the blessing of the Goddess of Masteria, or as we know it, the Goddess of Tynerum. So KMS doesn't have GMS's continent of Masteria that we know and love and has the best story in all of Maple. So what KMS did was make it into a theme dungeon. It's simply a theme dungeon. And it contains a lot of the same monsters and storyline and stuff like that that you would find from GMS's Masteria. So that would be the reason why there's Crimsonwood Altar Party Quest, and why it's so extremely similar to Crimsonwood Keep Party Quest. So what other versions of MapleStory did was attach a new quest line to the area while reusing the art assets. So what China does with CMS, they develop this new content region called Dawnveil, which is the continent directly south of Osiria. They're connected, but they're different continents, kind of like Asia and Europe, I guess. So while they're piecing together the region, they take KMS's theme dungeon and they insert it into this newly created Dawnveil, which they call Masteria. And Dawnveil also has Commercy, or Commerci technically, and Arborin, which is Beast Tamer's starting area, I guess. When they were piecing together this region, what they did was essentially keep all of the theme dungeon part, right? And they expanded on top of that. So that's why Ridley is present, that's why a lot of the monsters are the same, that's why a lot of the art assets are reused, that's why there's still the Crimsonwood Altar Party Quest that, like I said earlier, is similar to Crimsonwood Keep Party Quest. CMS took that lore and not the original lore from GMS, and they built upon that. That's why things are so fucking confusing. Since the area is based on KMS's Masteria lore, all the names are too, which again is why things are so similar. However, absolutely nothing explains the reasoning behind having 2 fucking castles. While all that content had already all been created, they attempted to fix the conflict with having 2 Masterias in GMS by just renaming the new region to Tynerum. So yeah, you have this other MapleStory version's interpretation of another version's content instead of just porting the content over. And so instead of using the original content, they use the theme dungeon. But there's a problem with it. There isn't really a way to fix the disparity between Masteria and Tynerum. Masteria is like cemented in GMS as an island that both sank and eventually rose from the ocean. But it has to be within a decent distance to Victoria Island to explain the subway travel from Kerning City. But I mean, I guess that's less of an issue when you have things like a plane ride from Maple World to literally Malaysia or Singapore or whatever. Tynerum, however, makes a lot more sense because it borders Leafry, and that kind of explains or helps to explain the escape of the Demon Brothers and their mother. But again, it doesn't absolutely 100% have to be nearby. Like, they could have just traveled further or whatever. So retconning a few of the names seems like the best course of action, really, in the attempt to band-aid fix things. Really, I think the only way to really fix it is to just have its own unique look, separate from GMS's Masteria, and stop calling it Masteria, and keep the GMS's Masteria lore separate from Tynerum. Like, I can't think of any other way to really fix it, or they can just keep ignoring it, I guess, and it'll be confusing forever. So yeah. I hope I explained that good. When I was actually recording this and reading it all out loud, I realized that the way I had everything written out didn't sound as good when I said it out loud. I mean, hopefully it comes across clear and you're able to understand, because I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing afterwards to piece everything together smoothly. But anyway, if there's anything important that I'm missing, let me know.